I went to Lake Tahoe. I Marguerite.
How you doing?
Still shows waiting for me.
See if there's a second version of that meeting posted.
Yeah, my niece just texted me. I met my niece out there. She lives in Texas.
The mountain is definitely showing
So
some.
that's why I wouldn't go back. She was an asshole. Well, not living. But, Tahoe's absolutely beautiful.
Not for me.
Yeah.
It's definitely
Tell me
like.
where I haven't been.
Let them know so I
Can you,
can
like,
tell you
read-
that. We'll go together.
Yeah, I
I
did.
like South America. That's my plan if I go back. Well, I've been to China. I've been to
Oh, yep, here we go.
South America.
Okay.
Crazy.
All right, so everybody, the owl is live. Dave, can you come up?
Thank you.
So now I just. Yeah. I see.
I think that's the only thing.
Hi, how are you? Good.
Okay, everyone. So I think we don't have any new board members, any new committee members tonight to introduce. So on our agenda, our first item was to start looking at the public survey that we wanted to send out, and then discuss briefly how we would choose to send that out. And I apologize for the delay on the owl. So I posted it up. I made a few comments, but they're pretty like much.
It's very difficult to hear you at this stage.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I made a few comments on there, but mostly they were really to ask, what do you think? Should we do that? Should we not do that? But, and again, really, Marguerite, thank you so much for working on this survey for us. Let's see, how can I do this? Is it long enough? Okay, so the first question is obviously, how about you as a resident? We plan to send this out. It could be more than one person in a family responding, but we'll talk more about how we're going to distribute it. But so the first question. Is this like the Tonight Show of not having any technology work? Okay, so obviously we're asking, we're assuring people that their identity is going to be, not known or disclosed or anything like that. And we have the first question of how many years have you lived here in New Baltimore? And, it gives you that. Go ahead.
How do you want us to write to you or Marguerite with modifications?
Well, I was going to try to
ideas?
type them in as we talk, but Danny, actually, if you can,
Sure.
Okay.
add some, just add comments as
Well,
people.
if it's supposed to be anonymous, then why do we put an email?
Yeah, I'm gonna take that on.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, good question. Okay, yes,
So
but
then
if somebody
that
wants
raises the
to, but,
question.
or we could make it optional,
Yeah,
email
yeah.
optional,
Yeah, that might be better option.
Yeah, do emails is optional after,
right,
right?
yeah, so you're.
If someone wants to.
Okay.
I think that's the best idea.
So
Hot
we
minutes
use
instead of using
something
PC.
for disambiguation to make sure somebody doesn't submit 100 or so.
Right.
We
can
did
number
talk
them.
about that. I think we had originally said that we were going to allow more than one person from a household, but
Right.
that's a choice we can make.
If you
We
number
won't-
them when they go out,
Yeah, on the mailings, we can always number them.
The mail outs are pretty easy. It's the electronic responses.
Right,
And
well,
I'm just not that up on the technology. Can we somehow tell?
Wonder if I can associate like an IP address with.
I'm sure there's something you can do, because it would use like cookies or something, you know what I mean? I'm sure there's a way to do it electronically.
Yeah.
Does it matter if more than one person from a household responds? I don't think we want to discourage that.
no, I don't.
That's great. I don't want to respond 9 times.
Right, I get it, yeah.
Or I
So-
might want to respond.
we're going to
Somebody might
number,
want to, yeah.
we'll number the paper, snail mail ones. But then we have to kind of figure out how we're going to do this for the electronic
Or arguing with myself here, we could just say it's not that important.
I think it is.
You think it is?
Yeah.
You think it's important that only one person from a household
No,
responds?
everybody
One
in the
person
household.
submits one.
Only,
Okay.
one person, one vote, basically.
Right. See, if we put it on the website, that, I don't believe there's anything like that, but I can ask ITS, that's our IT, company. And I can ask them, because there's nothing on the website right now that is the equivalent of a survey, so
I know you can do it, I have no idea how they do
yeah,
that.
I'll call out
Like
ITS.
in one of my jobs, we did that.
Yeah, and we track them by IP at our
Yeah.
company.
Yeah,
I don't have
IP,
that.
but, I mean, I'm
Internally
sure they
easier
can
than
do
externally.
that.
Yeah.
I'm sure they can do that. It doesn't necessarily mean, yeah, okay.
On how many years you have lived in New Baltimore, I thought it might be important also somewhere to have full-time residents, summer home, or less than part-time, less than 6 months.
Non-resident.
We have the non-resident business, but, can you see?
I think it's
But that's-
important.
Show
That's
that,
different than what I'm talking about.
non-resident business owner, landowner only, what?
Voters.
Vacation home.
But we
Yeah,
have
some
vacation, a lot of
snowbirds.
people moving in lately just for weekends and summer.
Yeah, so,
So
okay,
that would be summer home, vacation
or
home.
vacation home.
Seasonal.
Seasonal,
Yeah, that's
seasonal, yeah, let's put seasonal, 'cause yes, I know some seasonal people too.
You know, it would matter if you put voter or not.
Yes.
Oh, good
Very
point, voter is good. Would that be
Do
a
you
separate
vote in
question?
this-
I think that'd be a separate question.
Yeah,
Do you vote, are you able, or are you registered to vote
in this,
in the town of New Baltimore?
How about also
Or you
adding,
can ask what district.
Do we need,
registered.
do we need
to vote.
district?
I'm only saying that because the impact on a particular district might have more
True,
than,
like the
like the
Hamlet,
Greenville people are
Yeah.
more developed than say the Hamlet.
Okay, so which district? Well, see, in a later point, see, you can see where I added the more specific names.
even if you, or zip code,
The zip code, yeah,
would indicate,
which district, yeah,
That's
so
better
I
than
think,
asking district.
Yeah.
yeah, so, because I wanted to expand on the names of what part of the town you live in, so I put in that comment, if you can go over to that comment, Danny. And it does show all the different areas, okay?
Yeah, that
So,
makes more sense.
We can just have them check that off, and we'll know which district they're in. So, okay, so that's good. So what are the top 3 reasons you choose to live in New Baltimore?
how about proximity to capital region?
I did put,
Commuting distance,
yeah.
things like that.
I put that in as, should we add Albany commuter needs?
Yeah.
So, but I think proximity to throughway or something like that would be good. So you're capturing that, Dana, right? Okay.
I think that we should also maybe have something, affordability of housing.
That there is, that
Yeah,
is there.
okay.
Yeah, that's also in there. Okay, so,
What about schools? Educational system,
It's divided.
I'm sorry,
It's divided among several
yes,
school districts.
true, but we'll know by zip code.
It's 3.
yeah. Like that.
Because I think that many families prioritize that.
Is that why they would choose to live in this town? I mean,
Well, I know-
do we have schools that are more outstanding where they would want? I know.
I'm not sure about
Some
that one.
people would, some people do want to bring their kids
Yes.
into RCS or something, and then they do pay the
We
extra
chose
tax.
our house based on the school district.
Okay,
I think
okay,
anybody with children that they're looking at,
Yes.
and,
Okay.
looking to move, they're actually looking at the school district.
okay.
Then they pick Woonsocket for sure.
So then school district would be
Yeah.
among those, well, that's not a reason why you would choose to live in New Baltimore, but where in New Baltimore? So, we could ask a question like, did the school district impact your choice of where to live in the town? Something like that. Okay, so that's what we have for like, were the introductory questions and, so town growth and local business.
Do we not want in the introductory question, how many people live in your household?
That's a good question, I think. Yeah, I think that's a good one to add.
And how many filled out the questionnaire? If there's more than one, we're sending one to each household, so that means they're gonna have to Xerox it or something.
Yeah,
I don't know if people will go through all that.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just thinking that, I don't know that
Yeah.
people would.
It
I
doesn't
mean-
matter,
I'm sorry.
doesn't matter how many people live in the household?
Well, no, we were just saying we didn't want an answer maybe necessarily from the exact same person. But if there's multiple people in the household, they might have very different viewpoints,
Yes.
you know,
That's
so,
what families do, they make a decision.
yeah, I mean,
Well, if you have 2 adults in a household, they may not agree.
exactly. So, I mean, I don't know that it's a problem. I mean, especially if we get discrepant answers, that's what we want to see, right, in our results. So I'm fine with it, as long as, I
And
think
it's
the
not a
multiple, the same person is an issue, but,
It's not really a vote, this is their, you know,
Yeah,
their opinion, so an opinion survey, I think, is
yeah,
less important in monitoring or being very strict about how many, you know, responses you get back.
yeah,
I mean, if you see, you know, I think it's gonna be kind of evident if somebody is, you know, trying to send 10.
loading it, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I could be wrong, but.
Yeah, because then the answers are always the same. That's how you, when you're grading exams, you always get the
I
answers
can't
the same, you
imagine
know.
everyone.
I don't think this,
Right.
right.
So when I think about asking questions, I wonder about what we're gonna do with the answers.
Right.
So if we know how many people are in certain households, what are we gonna do with that?
Well,
I'm not sure it helps us.
the zip code, I think, is important.
That, agree. The question, how many people are in your household, I'm just not sure
Okay.
what we're gonna do. And people may have great ideas, I just can't think of one.
Well, I mean, I think if it's a family household versus an individual, you know, that might make us think about why they've made some choices, but I don't know.
I don't think we're gonna get that intricate into
I don't
it.
think you can do that, when you're gonna collate all this data,
Yeah.
you're just looking at numbers, you're looking at scale.
Yeah, we're trying to just get a journal, and there actually was so much more detail in the original survey. I know it's 10 years old, but that's not terribly old either, you know? So, yeah, so, okay, so we won't go to that, the number of people in the household. Okay, so the town growth, what direction should New Baltimore take regarding town growth over the next 10 years? Encourage smart growth, attract new residents, young families, expand our local tax base.
Can I go back up to town growth and local business, because we had current, in the second line, answers help us to evaluate whether current zoning laws are helping or hindering, it says local Main Street, we really don't have local Main Street, so I put hindering
Okay.
commercial development and home-based businesses.
Okay, yeah, that's great, let's do that one. Okay. Okay, I want to keep giving Danny enough time to type.
When we're asking, this isn't a census, but when you're asking questions, it would be fun to know from an IT point of view, whether or not the house had an internet connection, whether it had a computer. If they had a computer, iPhones, because that has some bearing on the technological future of.
For sure, it would help gear us
Well,
towards
and they'll sell
infrastructure.
houses too.
Yeah,
That's
and we've got
how
that
we
whole
sell stuff.
subcommittee about
Right.
that, so how would you phrase that question? What do you want that question to be, Dave?
In general, it's questions about their IT infrastructure,
So,
internet, computers, iPhones.
So which of the
smartphones.
following technologies do you have
yes,
access to?
good,
Yeah.
If we
Check
were,
all of it across.
did you say, can you drive? Was,
And that was another you asked about, Preston, about driving.
or did I mishear you?
No, you was talking about. yeah.
No, so that would basically help us pull information about our infrastructure needs, right? If there's an area, we find out that one of these, zip codes, everyone only has access through mobile data connection and no
And which
computer,
has happened
then we know
quite often.
there's some infrastructure that needs to
Yeah,
outreach that has to happen, right?
yeah, and that's directly,
Isn't
that's
it
up
called
in the
Starlink
infrastructure,
now?
Yeah. Okay, no, that was great, and I'd like to check your answered questions, Frank. Okay, so, encourage smart growth, new residents, young families, local tax base, support small businesses. I mean, that's another question, can they check, they're really not gonna check all of the above on this, because this is kind of the answers are divergent, but there might be places where we wanna make sure we do check all the above, so we need to keep that in mind, I think. Okay, how business friendly is our zoning, and I did put a point, that can rate it, but I did put a question is, should we also insert a comment for more detail on why they're feeling that way about zoning?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good, okay.
And who's going to fill that out?
And who knows what the zoning is?
Unless you're
Well,
business owner.
I actually did download the zoning map, I mean, most of the town is all, there's just, the small zoning areas, but we could probably attach a small map right there. I don't think that would be a problem. So, okay, we can do that.
That's a big question for a very small part of the population, unless we're talking home businesses.
Well, we have that.
What's the benefit
We
of
have,
it?
yeah.
What is the benefit of it? Or what zoning do you live in? What is the benefit to us as a committee?
Well,
I can't see any benefit to us as a committee by answering that question.
Honestly, I think depending on where you live, that might influence your answers on some other questions. But, is it gonna give us a lot of information?
I would
That's a
say
good
that probably
point, though,
80% of the
really.
people don't know what zone they live in.
So, but I think the question is not what zone do you live in, the
It's
question
how
is
you,
how business friendly is
Yeah.
our zoning, right? So the perspective it could kind of give you is if everybody says it's very business friendly, then the community's probably happy with the amount of business that's here and probably not looking to bring more business in.
But I feel like we
Maybe
have
not.
other questions on the survey that more directly attack that, and I do think the shorter we can make this, the better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree, this long.
Because I mean, Dave, there's in infrastructure, there are already questions about, whether your cell service is your priority.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if we want a good response rate, we should try to keep it pithy.
sure.
People
And I
were-
think knowing the zip code stuff will also affect, about people not
In
knowing
number
or
7
care about what zone they're in,
Number 7, if we want to eliminate 6, what types of local businesses and commercial would you like the town to encourage?
I'd like to keep 6 because eventually, and I'm already hearing people sending me, oh, this is a problem with the code, the zoning, blah, 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 blah. So I'd like to keep 6 with that, additional what, give us details of why you think, what you think.
Could I suggest an addition to 6, which is NA? For those of us who really don't
Yeah.
know how business friendly.
Good point, yep, Jenna.
Well, if it has no concept of community, you're still
That's what I was
out.
gonna say.
Yeah, there's no one that comes to us that would say, no, that
Yeah.
you can't, so.
Yeah, okay,
Maybe.
okay.
Deb, I'm not suggesting a change, I'm just curious to your thinking. Are we asking how business friendly are the lines, or how business friendly is the process?
I think it's more well, that's a good point, because we really should add zoning code, zoning, you know what I mean? Because I think that we were aiming maybe at code, to be, you know, how user business friendly it is. So I think we could add the word code after zoning. And I think that would be more specific, give us a better
I
understanding.
think you definitely need NA.
And an
Most people
NA
don't have a
as well.
Well, that's why they have all the zoning maps. that
Yeah,
nobody
okay, you could do
understands.
zone/process, Danny. Code, I'm sorry, code dash process. Okay. So then, Ms. Danny's ready, give me like a yes when you're ready. Okay, what types of local business or commercial activities would you like the town to encourage? We've got the small mom and pop, retail, light industrial, manufacturing, restaurants, cafes, farm stands, agriculture, home-based artisanal businesses, and professional offices, other. We've got the other option there, which I think is really helpful. Doing this
People have
anyway.
said senior housing.
I was gonna ask if that belongs here, but I wasn't sure, but I think that.
Yeah, well, I did actually,
Senior housing or.
There's something else. about
I
senior
asked
housing.
later if we, you know, what services, do we need to add like a services little section of a couple of questions and then that I would, but senior housing would fit there as well. Is that, it's not a business,
It's not a
I guess
business
it's
or
not a
commercial.
business.
It is a big
You
business.
think it's a bit more of a business than a
We kind of
service?
say
Like assisted living or, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay, let's add senior housing there, Dan.
you could put assist senior housing, assisted living,
Right.
Yeah,
because
Yeah.
we had a gentleman come into the town.
For 30 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would have been wonderful if it
Due
happened,
process.
yeah.
okay.
And agritourism, does that mean farms? What's the definition?
I don't think tourism is.
No, so I think we should have farms.
Well,
Farm
it's
stands.
farm-related businesses though, like,
Okay.
so like if I wanted to have, there's farm tours, farm, you know, people that will come to your farm and stay for that experience,
Yeah, like the
that's,
apple orchards have all this stuff.
that's
Yeah.
agritourism.
Yeah.
Field of dreams.
Yeah, but what should, but it's true, maybe should we change the term tourism to something a little bit more for people who don't know what that is?
Yeah, we can figure
Yeah,
something
because
out.
if you don't have farms, you don't have farm stands, and you
And
don't
they're
have
going quickly.
agritourism.
Right,
So we kind of left out the,
Preston, what do you, and
I think we could come up, I don't know the term offhand.
Okay.
but I-
Yeah, agritourism is the most common term I've heard, but we can brainstorm it.
yeah, I mean, for people in the know, yeah, that's the term, but I mean, for people who might be responding.
And I feel like this is gonna end up being pretty related to the short-term rental issue, because that's
right,
what's gonna be a lot in New Baltimore.
Yeah, and I did send out that survey, by the way, not the survey, but the draft
Draft.
law about the
which
short-term
is pretty
rentals.
interesting.
Yeah, so that's for that group, but I think, you know, a lot
Are we
of,
hiring 3 more
Yeah,
building
I do too.
inspectors?
The options come.
3 more building inspectors, I know.
Yeah.
No,
I think I.
Frank and Dave,
is it number 9 there under, I'm wondering if under landscaping, everyone understands that to mean that could have somebody parking their equipment, lawn mowers, backhoes, lifts, whatever, on their property.
I'm wondering if the landscaping is more like the design of that's a lot that
That's
is
part of the
covered quite a
site,
lot.
that's part of the site plan.
Right,
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 but what-
So I take it.
yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, if there's some kind of category that catches, the people that use some of their acreage to park their equipment. I'm thinking of 10 out of 3 out of 10 sites in my area, just roughly, are doing that.
Well, that would start to talk about people's concerns about being, you know, the historic and rural aesthetic, although farms have been here forever.
Yeah, how do you separate construction equipment from farm equipment?
Yeah.
A farm is a farm.
You could need a backhoe just as much as.
I think it's like saying,
Farm,
like,
like, a
it's,
lot of people, like,
Yeah.
farms and backhoe.
it's a fine line.
Yeah.
What
I
the-
think, go ahead, Kath.
I don't like this mandatory, I think, you know,
guidelines,
Yeah.
standards, but I think to put something in there that's, mandatory is
Yeah,
too confining, so I would like to see that removed.
and that's a code thing, that's also
That's
really
right.
talked of quite a bit in the code,
Yeah,
so,
guidelines.
Guidelines,
guide-
standards.
yeah.
We can,
Okay,
So-
let's get a grip here, though. The town does have guidelines, okay? Yeah, so, this sounds like we don't have any, and I don't think that's the proper approach when you're doing a survey.
Yeah, because you're not starting from zero.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
then maybe the answer is, should the town enforce? Specifically.
Or do we want to ask a different question? What have you feel about the town's current guidelines for
Oh,
this?
you're. But I don't think people are gonna know what the guidelines are unless
They're looking at the
new.
code.
Then they can pick
It
on
should, I think counties enforce, I think is the right answer.
Yeah.
Enforce.
Okay, enforce, let's back up here. All right, when you go through the
Enforce.
site plan approval process,
Mhm.
you have approval for landscaping design. I mean, something doesn't get approved if it doesn't have landscaping or architectural standards, they have drawings for new commercial buildings, so. And most of these commercial buildings are on IW,
Right.
all right? Because other parts of the town, they don't go to because it's a little bit of a hassle. There's no zoning,
Right.
and there's also power,
Yeah.
Dry
water,
water.
you know. So, if I read this number 9, it sounds to me like people are just coming in here and going wherever they want, and,
So then it should be say enforce instead of establish.
but what are you enforcing?
What the guidelines that are always there, that are already there.
Okay, so, if you have a commercial building on 9W that has gone through the site process,
Right.
in order to get, their
approval.
approvals,
Yeah.
they have to have complied with the drawings and architectural designs, the engineering that has
But
been,
did they really do it?
well, did
When
they really
built
do
their
it?
building and
That's
then
why
they said, yes, we're gonna do it.
Right. The code enforcer has to give them the
Build
building
up to
permit
it.
and go there and inspect, like in any other
Right.
town.
But again, the second part of it is to ensure they match our town's historic and rural aesthetics. So,
What does
Are
that
we
mean?
asking-
What's that mean?
well, so they don't put these buildings up that are, these ugly, intrusive, kinds of things that, that you can go to any town and see, like, I lived in Queensbury, we used to have a nice Route, 9. Now it's like building after building of these ugly, different types of
I don't know.
businesses.
I think
So is
we
that
need
what that
to-
is that what that question is trying to get?
I think this has to be reworded. I don't think it,
I would agree, it's more enforcement of,
Right.
or like, is either enforcement of a guideline, or is the current guideline adequate, right? I think is kind of what we're asking.
so you're making the assumption that they're not enforced, that the site
Well,
plan
that's
is
a
not
that's a
followed.
fact.
For
That's a fact
solar.
right now. No,
They're
that,
not, yeah,
we don't have enough guidance from
yeah.
Right, there you go.
And do they currently,
inspectors in the town to enforce the guidelines that are there in place.
right,
That's right,
and
we
do
don't.
the
Because
guidelines
we can't afford it.
That's
talk
right.
about matching
Yeah.
these,
So if
the
we
town
make one rule,
character?
we can't enforce it.
Yeah, so I'm not quite sure the purpose of this. We can't enforce what we have on the books
not a question
now. So,
I would add that, to the extent to which, this is a non-binding, non-voting survey to help provide information to a non-binding, non-legal committee.
right.
So, I think that some of this stuff, we are just going to have to say, the average resident is not going to know about landscape architecture guidelines. And like, the reason that people volunteered is because you actually do. And we're just gonna have to make some calls based on, like, we have other questions in the survey, like, how much do you care about the natural
Right.
and farm preservation? Like, I think we can intuit a lot of things from some other questions that might be more generally useful.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that is captured in the current comprehensive plan, because it does talk about being aware of making sure that it matches, you know, the character of the town that people want. So I don't think we necessarily have to ask that in there unless we really feel that,
So you're saying get rid of 9 completely?
yeah,
I
I'm
think so.
thinking so.
Yeah, I agree with getting rid of it.
Yeah, okay.
Because
And,
a lot of that is spelled out in the site plan, and when the planning board approves the site plan, they very often have a list of conditions that go along with it. And then that list of conditions goes on to the code enforcement officer
right,
and ties in with the building permit application. And they don't get their approval until those conditions have been met.
And then you have the businesses that are in existence from the day of the flood and are maybe not living up to what you expect, okay? But you have inspections, especially depending on how they got their permit. Yearly inspections, automatic yearly inspections.
Most of the businesses are
Quite good.
are also getting permits from several state
Yeah,
government offices. And what we tended to do is, instead of being duplicative, like especially with DEC, we say, okay, forward the certificate, depending on the business.
right,
And show us that DEC did come out last year and what the results were.
right.
And most businesses are very,
They want to comply
Yeah.
because they want to have the business.
so, and that way our guys don't have to go out there
Right,
and do the same checklist as
right,
the state's doing.
has already done,
Yeah.
okay. Okay, so we'll take out number 9.
Can I just offer an observation?
Sure.
I just want to offer the observation that if a guideline is subject to being enforced, any of the guideline, it's a rule. Like the 65-mile-an-hour sign on the thruway is not a suggestion, not a guideline. It's something that's capable of being enforced.
Yeah, it's our code, right? It's the same thing as our code, our local laws.
Well, yeah, so the code, which from the code evolves the process.
Right,
The town has flexibility in the development of the process and the steps in the process. Some towns have more restrictive processes,
right,
but they're generally the same.
I feel like question number 9 was more in regards to like aesthetics,
Yeah.
stuff like that, like to make it look like it's
Like it's well kept.
area,
Yeah,
well, even
yeah.
just like area
Yeah.
appropriate, right? Like,
Yeah.
so you don't have a space shuttle next to,
right,
you know,
yeah. I mean, we've had in
bed and
the
breakfast, I don't know.
in planning board, we've had problems where people, you know, where we've had to ask businesses to clean up certain
Yes.
of their areas,
And that's
you know?
typically based on a complaint.
Right,
Yeah, but then again, people hesitate to file a complaint because they have their name on it.
right,
And it's public knowledge because I've had a couple of
Yeah.
instances where they're not gonna complain and have the next door neighbor they're complaining about come back in the middle of the night and get even. I mean, Anne Marie, it's standard practice, they do
that is a big issue. I've
it.
heard
It
it from
really
many
is.
Oh, I know,
Well-
but you know, they had to put that in effect because people were making complaints
I
about.
know, I understand
Right,
that.
so where's the balance? They were getting so many complaints because people weren't putting their name on it and they were just making trouble.
I'd suggest that we put that on the back burner for a bit.
Yeah.
Dave has been working really hard on an IT solution for exactly that problem, how to make complaints that are anonymous to the person you're complaining against, but that town officials can
Right,
respond to.
Mhm.
So we're actively addressing that.
yeah, we're talking about that.
If we already had a solution, we'd have announced it already, but it's,
Yes, so number 9 is gone.
So we didn't look at number 8, even though that's.
Yeah, let's go up to 8. Okay, to manage traffic and preserve local road infrastructure, should new commercial and light industrial zoning be strictly confined?
Sounds like kind of a leading question. I'm not a lawyer, but I just.
Yeah, I mean, again, in some ways, we're asking them to make the decisions and the laws that should be made in our code or put in our plan. Instead, maybe we want them to react to saying, what
We
is,
need it.
is this a problem? You know, do you find that this is a problem? So, have you experienced the problem with, you know, commercial and light, you know what I mean? We can turn it around, not make them make the code. We just need to know if that the problem exists. So, we can play, so we're gonna play with number 8, wording.
Okay.
Deb, I really hate to do this, but
Go ahead.
I want to back up to number 7.
Okay.
And it's real simple.
So
I think we
just
need,
trash the agendas, guys.
I just think we need to add,
Definitely
check
underestimate.
all that apply. I think you can have more than one answer.
Yes, 7 should be all apply.
Okay, oh yeah, we talked about that. Okay, good. That wasn't too bad, Beck.
And on the Google survey, I could have, I probably had it set up like that, but when I printed it out, it probably. Yeah.
This is a great
Yeah,
one.
this was.
It's a great
Oh,
one.
Yeah,
it's
but
so
this
good.
was pulled from like every meeting that you guys ever had on YouTube, with any kind of complaints or any public, input.
There's a lot of work.
Yeah, so that's where a lot of these questions came from.
Yeah.
Carol was the horse designed by.
From real life.
Yeah, well, in the previous, survey.
Yeah, I did the previous survey too, and they got really interesting information, but not necessarily what we needed immediately.
Can I add something to 10?
Yeah, Kath, go ahead.
So under the, in addition to solar farms, wind farms, battery storage, data centers, how about single-family housing, multi-unit housing, senior living,
You go to
55 plus?
Yeah, he's still typing, okay. What did you want to
Does
add
that make
there? Kath?
Single-family housing, multi-unit housing, senior living,
Okay.
and maybe like 55 plus retirement or something, you know, but just. I would
What
like
about
to see-
towers?
Huh?
5G towers should be on there.
Okay.
I think we have one in our town.
Mm-hmm.
Kathy, could you repeat that list?
Yep, single-family housing, multi-unit housing, senior living, and like 55 plus retirement housing, which may not be the same as senior living. Or maybe it's assisted senior living.
Yeah.
At one point in time, I think at the planning board, something was brought up about the add-ons, or what do you call it, AO something or other housing. When you have seniors that can't live alone, you can make an attached dwelling.
Assisted living?
No.
No, it's not, it's
Like
like
granny pods?
Like a,
Like a granny pod thing.
Like
And anyway, the state of Georgia has approved it and they're building them like crazy. But I know at one point in time, we did mention it might be a subject in this town. Because we have seniors that are trying to stay alive. And by attaching a living quarters to
Oh,
present
okay.
of
In-law
their
apartments,
children.
yeah, in-law apartments.
Okay, so yeah, in-law apartments and living court is a very big issue, actually. And our zoning code doesn't include a long enough list of the types of buildings we have.
Exactly.
Even you talked, Emery, about, what you call it, tiny houses and stuff like
Right,
that.
that's what
It doesn't,
Yeah.
Yeah, the grandparents.
yeah,
Yeah.
that needs to really be increased, that
And
list of
when
the
you talk
types.
about seniors today that might have to go into assisted living or over 55, and you tell them they've got to pay $10,000 a month in order to live there, they look at you and say, "Look, I saved all my life, but I can't afford this
Yeah.
even now."
Yeah,
And that's why they're getting put
yeah,
in this position.
yeah, that's gonna happen more and more,
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
that's a great
So
point.
should that,
Danny, I think it should be 5G towers, is that what you said? Or just towers?
Yeah,
I mean,
5G
5G,
yeah.
and then you want to add in-law apartments, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's basically what we're talking about.
is that part of this question? Because that's gonna be a big part of the additional dwelling unit, and it's gonna relate pretty
Yeah.
heavily to the short-term rental. Like, we are pretty strict about
Yeah.
ADUs right now.
Too specific for a comprehensive plan. You have zoning, you have a code book to go by. You're not rewriting your code book, you're just giving your comprehensive plan that is supposed to go along with your code book.
It's actually, we're trying to address a comprehensive plan that meets the new, the conditions in the town now, and then adjust code based on what are the new needs. So, code will be modified based on what this plan might provide. Because, example, we have a subcommittee for all these new technologies, which didn't exist really at the time of the previous plan.
Right.
So there's changes that we have to address in both that and the code. And like I said, I've received from many people some suggestions about problems that they've seen in the code, and I've seen it too, so. But can you scroll up a little bit, Danny? Because I feel, isn't this the end of the,
So that's the other thing too, that
keep going up, please. Now down, I'm sorry, just slowly go down. Okay, maybe it's further down, I'm sorry.
before, Danny, before you go too far though, so we're adding all those like senior housing to, the subcategory here is evolving technology and land use. So it's more like, it was meant to get, like, do you support data centers and like that's what that was.
Yeah,
more
the
meant to
use of the
support.
land for those purposes.
Yeah.
Okay,
And they coming back to, oh, God.
yeah, so that's a whole different category.
So I almost wonder if there's another question that has to be added.
Yeah, it's a
That gives
different
more-
category.
Well, you got rid of 9, put
Where would storage businesses go? Those large storage facilities?
Like
Is
that
goes into
here
land
or
use.
elsewhere?
Yeah,
It's in the code, light industrial.
yeah, I would say
I don't know
that.
if that goes here or somewhere else, but it's a,
No,
it's a
I would
thing.
put that here. We have storage units in our
Right.
IW.
Do we
Yeah,
have
we do.
rules for how and when, and et cetera? I don't
very
know.
strict rules,
Okay.
because they come to the planning board and they are definitely looked at as to how they're built, what they provide.
You want to be done in a commercial property.
Yeah.
Right,
Right.
Are you
Yeah.
talking about the individual storage units?
Yeah.
Or are you talking about big
The
storage?
business.
Warehouses.
Yeah.
Oh,
Big
wow.
warehousing.
Really lucky if we get.
I was talking about the rentable storage units.
No,
And
storage.
wondering if we wanted to talk about,
Like by Taylor Monuments, those
Yeah.
we're talking about.
do we care what they look like, where they're located, et cetera? I don't know that that's in the.
Well, there's only certain areas of
Right.
zoning where they can be,
Right.
so
Interesting.
they're restricted to certain areas, commercial, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
To the
Okay.
code book. And,
Great.
and Marjorie can tell you the ones that are there by Taylor Monument. I mean, it got so heated because they needed fire extinguishers.
Well, no, they
remember?
didn't, but the building inspector,
Was saying he wanted to see.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
There was a real problem because the
Right,
building
they're very
inspector
strict.
was demanding fire extinguishers, which are
On
not
every
required.
unit.
Which are not required.
I know, I remember.
Not
And-
required by our code, current code,
No,
or
state code.
state code.
State code.
State code does not require.
And our building inspector put the individual through quite a bit of harassment where he just gave up and installed stuff.
Yeah.
But that's not
And-
right. That
And
should
it's
not have been
costing
done.
the guy money
Yeah.
every day that goes
Certified and
by.
all that other
Well,
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, if it's not required,
So that should be
I own storage
clarification, yeah.
units,
that's-
okay? It's not required by state or local code.
Right,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, no, but that's an important point. That is an important point, that's. the whole
And we do
purpose
have,
of
a
this.
well,
but.
we do have a little issue in this town with,
Good, Mark. Maria.
huh?
I
Did we
think
get
we
enough
should
of it?
maybe,
We are.
moving right
Oh,
along. Moving right along.
Here we
Amber.
go. The witnesses to some of this. So,
On
Okay.
the items that I recommended for 10, maybe they can go someplace else.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I think we can work
Different-
either town growth or infrastructure,
Yeah.
maybe combine them.
Yep.
So I've got that in this.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Can we, yeah, thank you. Okay, should town implement mandatory minimum buffer zones between working agricultural properties and new residential subdivisions or commercial bells?
We have those. We have. There are
Setback.
setbacks
setbacks.
for each, yeah, so.
About change, should we change those things? Are they
Are they still adequate?
still adequate?
Are they adequate? That's a big question. That's a real subjective question.
Well, you know, if you're buying a piece of land, you know there's a farm next to you, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And it's right to
And
farm.
this is supposed to be a farm-friendly place,
Right.
you know, so.
Wasn't the last time too, wasn't there a very big issue about a 50%, rural?
That was the
Yeah.
biggest issue.
Yeah.
Yes, that was a big issue. So that, I know they changed in the last
That's the only
round.
way you can get it through,
Yeah, they
which
changed that.
is respect for the farmers.
That's
Right.
So I almost think that question we should strike off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 12, strike?
I think so.
Beyond the regular setbacks that we have in our zoning.
I think that should be a case by case
Yeah.
that you look at anyway.
Yep.
The setbacks.
Okay, how should the town balance farmland protection with future development over the next decade? Farmland protection as a top priority, development should take priority, flexible, balanced approach, neutral, no opinion.
I wonder if it's maybe not protection, but preservation. Like, it almost sounds like you're trying to protect the farmers. I don't think that's the kind of question.
Yeah, or even respect of some sort, you know what I mean? We're talking about respect.
What does that mean?
And what kind of development?
I don't know what
So I
that,
think what that refers to is, so let's say there's a 100-acre farm
right,
that I own, I passed away, my kids got it, and now some developer comes in there and they want to buy it. I feel like that's the vein of that question.
well, how can you do that? You can't tell people what to do with their.
I agree,
Yeah. I mean, we have issues,
Even now we have some
yes,
problems.
you know, we have farmers who have died in their trusts. has
Or
a
they're
hundred-
so old that they've had
Right,
to.
and so that, we have a developer actually from the Binghamton area who has done 3 different subdivisions. Now, do we want that to happen? Maybe not, but do we have any right to say to that farmer or that family, they can't do that? No,
No, I don't think so.
yeah,
Right, that was that whole big issue,
Yes.
the 50% piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, not, that was.
No, that wasn't,
That
that,
was-
I thought that was
that's
they
the
had
the
to-
other,
That was the first comprehensive plan.
Yeah, that's what I'm referring
Yeah.
to, yeah, because that was like we kind of had to.
but you gotta look
Yeah,
at some
give
of
away,
these
yeah,
farms,
yeah.
you know, they sell the property because that's their retirement. They
That's
have
right.
Yeah.
nothing
That's
left.
it.
And so by selling it to a developer, that's the money they can live on for the rest of the
But let
life.
me qualify
And
this.
that's why they do that, so we should not restrict them whether they can sell it or not.
When they come into us, we have a 2-acre minimum.
Yeah,
They have 5, 10, sometimes 20-acre lots, depending on the geographical layout, depending on, this guy, and I have to give him credit because he comes in here
Oh, yeah.
and he has already done perk tests. Now, he doesn't have to do that.
yeah.
He does
Every
perk
lot
tests on
has a
every
perk
lot
test.
so that people at the public hearings know that, okay, the septic can go here. The well, of course, has to be 1,500 feet away from it. But he tries to accommodate the town's people's concerns.
But in the end, he sells property
Yes,
faster
restrictions.
because the people know what they're getting.
Yeah,
That was
Yeah.
what they did like on Haynes Farm and
Yes,
shares off and that.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
and again, if they do that, if they sell that farmland, that when they do build that subdivision, that still has to, follow our code.
Absolutely.
Right.
Well,
So
some of
that's
these
what we need to talk about in this committee, is that code, making sure that that code
Well-
is up to date for what we're facing now with these subdivisions, et
This
cetera.
gentleman even put restrictions, if I
Yes.
remember correctly, as far as further subdividing of what he's
Yeah,
doing.
Yes,
further.
yes, that's
Okay.
right.
So that's working on our
On behalf.
because it makes the whole town look like it's better able to have good property, so.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So strike 13.
We just gotta watch who comes to us and wants to develop.
Yeah, I mean, we're striking questions. I'm wondering if they sometimes just need rewording in what we're asking the people to
I'm
respond to.
confused by this question, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
So
I don't know what you're asking.
I also feel like that we're trying to gauge the public on, like, how important is it to maintain farmland? Like of the current
Then
residents.
ask them that.
yeah,
Like, that's what I think I'm
Yeah.
saying, right? Like,
ask that.
that's, I think, what we're trying to ask, but
Yeah,
it's too commercial sounding.
yeah,
But then again, you're getting into controlling a personal.
Well, we're not passing law. The town can, not just can, but has to make certain decisions that will make it either easier or harder to subdivide and sell. We have to have a law on that in some capacity. So we're asking, do we like what we have now? Is it too permissive or is it too restrictive? And actually,
That's not what this is asking.
no, I agree with that, but I think that's the
Yeah.
intent.
That's the intent.
I think,
So what you should be asking is, and most people aren't gonna know what's in existence to begin with, do you support development, subdivisions? That's what we're talking about here. Are you going to restrict subdivisions?
unrestricted development. I mean,
There is no unrestricted development in our town.
But you have 2 acre,
Minimum lot size.
What's
that's
wrong with
the
that?
setbacks. yeah.
no, I see nothing wrong with that, but
That's
Just say
based
that,
on
that's the
wells and.
restriction though.
Yeah.
It's like-
But that's part of the zoning.
But yeah.
And it's part, and
And
it
it's
differs in
not
different parts of the town too.
If you don't have water and sewer, that's the restriction. If you have water and sewer, then the lot size goes smaller.
Right,
So-
right,
And the town's been fortunate so far, over the years, subdivisions. In many instances, people have come in, they don't want a small 2 acre lot. They
Right.
want
Yeah.
larger.
Yeah, they have been
4 or
larger.
5 acres.
Yeah.
or-
And the planning board has actually said to them, maybe you need to have larger lots here,
Yeah,
more than 2 acres, And the boards that we have appointed in our towns can require more restrictive, depending on the location, depending on
And the
the
soil and
usage.
everything that
Right,
goes along with it.
right.
So that's why I'm saying I'm confused by this, so.
I think, I
When
think
the
it goes back
soils-
to trying to get the sense of the character of the town and what people want the town to be.
So a
So,
lot of the areas, like out in the 3rd district, just the lay of the land.
Yep, that doesn't,
Makes it, they have to have more than,
Yes.
2
Right,
acres.
right.
Because, there's
right,
cliffs and hills
right.
and like that, streams.
So, I don't know that this question's gonna get us anywhere really like this. I think we might delve into it in other ways and into the plan once we start writing the plan.
It's almost more like you're asking a question about the town's character.
Yeah.
What type of character would you like to preserve in
Right.
Baltimore? That's really what the
well,
question
in
is.
some ways, I think that's exactly what we want, because we don't wanna be like, now Bethlehem has subdivided to the point where now they're saying, oh boy, we gotta do it. Not for nothing, RCS has just gotten mad because they gave us all their low-income housing in our school district, but the tax money they collect goes to town of Bethlehem. You talk about we don't need that.
Even just the words farmland protection limits you from woodland protection. I
Right,
mean, my woods are right over there, but it's not a farm, but it doesn't mean that I want it to be
right,
gone.
right,
So
exactly. Yeah. Why don't we take this one out for now? And we might want to play with
I
other
personally
questions
think the
that,
town has a lot of character. I mean, I live down here a
Oh,
long
yeah.
time.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
the town already has different areas, like we got the historic district down here, right?
Yeah.
That's already designated. We got commercial district on 9W, right, down there,
Yeah.
so, and then you got pretty much a farm area and out back, and,
right.
so we already have our distinctive areas. And it depends on where you wanna live and how you wanna do that.
yeah, I think,
You do have choices.
Well, and also, I think we want to keep a balance, you know what I mean? So we still do have those choices, you know what I mean? Because I
Well,
think in other places.
It's there now, so I don't know what we're gonna change about it. That's
Right.
what I'm saying.
No, I don't even know, and I think that's what the survey is trying to capture is, are we happy with the way it is, or do we want more, you know, facing, you know, changes and things that are coming into, impacting the town. But the bottom line is that we do have those districts and we want to preserve them as they are, or are people wanting something different? I don't think that's the answer, quite honestly. I think people are happy with the different things that we have, but, you know,
And
that's
there's been
what the
mistakes
survey.
made, you know, in the zoning, like the guy
Yeah.
over on,
Come on,
oh, the park where the, bus garage used to be. Yes, I mean, that poor guy got a little bit screwed over because.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was the weirdest, I mean,
That
nobody
was just
knew.
all of a sudden it was there.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Because I lived near
Now,
there.
now though.
Now.
Right, but
Yeah,
it was all of a sudden,
originally a bus.
yes, it was on a bus garage, and all of a sudden it's like, what's
What's
going on
going
here?
on here?
Right.
Yeah,
But it had, my understanding is it had consistent businesses over the
like
years there.
grandfather.
Yeah.
Yes, that
Yeah,
grandfathered
They
in.
were, right.
So the original,
Yes, the zoning.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Well,
Which they're
Okay.
fine, you know, I mean, they're fine, but it was just,
Okay,
all of a
let's,
sudden it was there.
So on 14, the local public spaces, do you want to
Yeah.
list out what they are and try and get a gauge for how often people are visiting each one of them? Or is it just?
I don't know that we need to gauge it at each
No.
one,
Okay.
because,
Just
I
in
just,
general, do you want to list?
I would just say, you know, I think
Such as?
if they're happy with the.
Parks and Riverfront capture, I mean, if you want to put a few examples, you know, because we do have them in different locations.
Yeah, I
you know,
think examples of what they
Cornell
are, so they
versus,
understand
you
how they
know,
answer the
right.
question.
something that's more just land-based and stuff like that. Yeah, so we could put some just of our examples.
Did you decide to strike 13?
Yes.
Strike or rework, yeah.
I would say, I would be an advocate for reworking it because it's an important question. Having to do with the character of the town.
I think that we're gonna find, going over this not in a committee, that we have a lot of redundant questions.
Yeah.
That a lot of things are boiling down to character. We don't need to ask it 5 different times.
Okay.
Yeah, and, but also, you know, we really were hoping to finalize tonight, but if you have any other thoughts in the, you know, as, you know, in the next couple of weeks, we could send that in and, you know,
Well, this was just like dump everything into one.
yeah, right. So
Gotta start somewhere.
we want to get as close to finished as possible, but if, you know, new ideas come in, that's okay too.
So 13 is out.
For now.
Or either where we want.
Yeah.
Because to me, that word protection in there could be, what we're doing, one more, offensive, upset a farmer that is thinking about selling
Yeah.
Right,
or retirement, and he could take great offense to that because
right,
you say, this means I can't do it.
right.
That's very good, so that's,
For sure.
Yeah, we're collecting preferences, not proposing policy here.
Right.
However, it gets misinterpreted the wrong way. If you
Yes.
ask the question,
Yeah.
you misinterpret it the wrong way.
No, I understand, and it's marked for being rewritten or stricken. Do you want to move on to 16?
Yes, supportive of you, are you of the town exploring partnerships or dedicated spaces for a multi-generational community center? I had sent out that document that there was the proposal for, it was actually in Queens. They were gonna use the old church there and make it a multi-generational community center. So it had a lot of positive feedback. I think it's a little stalled right now. I know that they're trying to be a 501 3C or C3. I always do those backwards. But I think that's where it's stalled right now.
Okay, I'm play devil's advocate here.
What? Come on.
You know, I read that proposal, so you know.
Mhm.
I think it's a wonderful concept, but look at our community. One of our biggest problems in our community for the elderly,
Thank
the
you.
children, is transportation.
Transportation.
Yeah.
So that did not address the most essential, and most important part of any kind of people going to a program.
Right.
So I don't think this really pertains to our community, just my friend.
Well, or what about asking another question of, what are the biggest, hindrances or, that are gonna keep you from it? Public
And how does that
transportation.
relate to code and zoning?
It's not that it really,
Providing transportation is the biggest issue in our community. So,
Public transportation.
a public transportation.
Is above the town level, it's at the county
Yeah.
level.
Right.
Yes. So
Right.
again, I'm not
But-
sure.
And I had put it in there somewhere, did we want to address, and I think it goes with the other types of land and things that we wanted to add, other types of buildings and, homes, different types of homes and such, but I did put in there, do we want to add more more services for elderly, for veterans, for, other different types of people who, and then that wouldn't be as much of a transportation problem, but.
I have to add this, and I don't know how many people in this room are aware of it, but New Baltimore is only one of all the towns in Greene County that does not have senior.
A center.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have to go either to Coxsackie or they have to go to Queerville, but there is nothing.
Yeah.
Here. And it's a sad state of affairs. Speak to somebody who's well over the hill. And I will tell you, some of these people, that's why we started the project that we have down in the church in the Hamlet. But here you go again. That's financing or the benefits they make. That church, we tried to start it as a group in the senior center using the town hall. Well, that wasn't able to be done because that size cannot have the town business being going and having senior services. Youth, Greene County has a great youth program. But you tell me how close in New Baltimore we see that youth program. I don't think we see any of it. And it's a shame. Now, they have buses out of the county, I think it's one day a week, that you can find out about going to the supermarket. But then you gotta be able to go the one day that the bus is willing to come to New Baltimore.
Yeah, but
When it's not
and that
going to
has
Ashland.
there's a pickup point where people have to get to it, so,
So I mean, as far as the seniors are concerned, I'm sorry, that's been my fight here, and they can tell you, for 20 years now. I've watched 3 parks be built in this town for our youth. Tell me how much youth you've got in your section of this town, and I'll tell you, you better start counting. I fought a hell of a fight with RCS, trying to find out if my tax dollar was being used right. They couldn't even tell me in the beginning how many kids were going to RCS from New Baltimore. Now, we're small, I mean, the Hamlet and, the second district, we have a couple of people, and I think the third district, we have kids. There were 32 kids total in RCS. And yet if you take your tax bill and she takes her tax, and every one of us just look at what our school taxes, I could send it to CBA, I could send it to the best schools in the world. We're not getting our dollars worth, and yet every year the seniors have to pay more and more, and so do the people that are breaking their backs trying to support their families. So I don't know what you want to build, but until we get something that can be destined to be used to its full amount, I don't see building anymore. I think we had $300,000. Penny, you said it sounded right, about $300,000 to 3 parks. And I get a lot of it might have been grants, but.
No, I think they were all grants up.
Yeah, and it was because the playground equipment and everything that added
Everything was
to it.
grants.
Yeah,
So I think that, okay, from that perspective, that was an improvement to the town,
right.
okay? But what we're getting, to get back to this is that, we're a small town. We have,
I'll just say we've got 20 minutes. We're not getting through this whole agenda. And I hear everything you're saying, but the question for this survey is, do we want people's opinion about this question or not?
I think
About
that's a valid
building
question
something
that I think
else.
should be asked.
Yes.
We have, everyone has their opinion.
Yeah, and
But I think it's a valid question, and whether the town supports it or not is, is up to the town.
It's a great question, but where are you gonna get the finances even to?
But right-
We're not, that's not the.
I'm not asking the median citizen.
It's just to get what the need is, what the need and
Right.
desire and interest in the town is at this point.
That's the need, but
Well,
what
then-
you're really doing is opening a can of worms.
No, but you can't hide your face about what's really needed. You have to know and
So if
hear.
50% of the survey comes back and says, yeah, we need a community center,
Yeah,
what's the next step?
yeah.
Then we
Maybe
look and
there's
see what we
grants
can
that are
do,
out
whether we can support, the Queens one and then Ravenna one, and then other things that we could do. But if we find out that half our town needs this stuff, then that's our responsibility to try to look into it and make it happen. Now, it's not gonna be easy, but we can't hide and pretend it doesn't exist, that need. We have to know
I get
that
but
that's need.
there is spaces in town for them. This is one space that they could use if they want to. It's a public space. I built this building. I was on the committee, and we sold this
Well-
building based on community space
And that's
and using for community, same with Medway.
well, that's
So
a great
They do have community spaces they could use.
So that's a great point, and part of it, we talked about a lot in this, is looking into some of these spaces that we have and how they could be utilized. So I think that's
I
a
think
great
it's
point
there.
to
It's
bring
just a
that up.
matter of
How you do it.
the committee from the seniors being structured so they could have that meeting.
No,
So let's not confuse the what with the how,
right,
right?
right.
Well,
And I agree with you, Ken. We certainly need to leverage all of the how that we have.
yeah,
But let's
but that question
ask
opens the
people.
door. Do we need a community center? And we're, it kind of just opens the door
I
for.
think
It just, as, how
So
are
maybe
you
the-
supportive of it?
so I get what you're
Would you
saying
like
now.
it?
So you're not concerned about the activity. What you're saying is, we don't want another building. So maybe community center, which potential community program?
Community
Let's take out the
services
word
and
center.
programs.
That's correct.
That's
Yeah,
what I
that
had
would be
put on
much
as a
better.
question to add,
You
yeah.
got a possibility
Community
of
services.
getting it.
All
I
right.
mean, when I was campaigning, we had so many seniors say to me, we can't get to the doctor.
That's
We need
right.
help to get to the doctor and things of that nature, So.
But that's a whole nother,
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but it's not.
that's the county level.
Yeah.
I know.
I
And
think that there was
We'll take
something-
that
Yeah.
center,
We can
that
fix
center out.
But when you think about strategies to resolve these problems, which, is in the plan already, that's what you pursue with, the county or whoever else you need to pursue it with to get those resources that we have identified we really need, I mean, hearing it that it's needed is a good thing to then go forward.
I'm thinking,
Yeah, take out the center.
that you,
Yeah, I agree.
these, Anne Marie, Ellie brought up this issue of transportation and just looking ahead here, we could put that in, the town infrastructure. We need more public transportation for the elderly.
I had a question actually, what deterrent would prevent you from using a community center program? And I had transportation.
What would be an obstacle, in other
Yeah.
words, for you to use that? That's a good question too. I think that's a good question. Yeah,
I know, it should be a community center program or community.
or, yeah,
Just take center out.
services
Yeah,
or,
take center out.
But
It takes them out
But
for
your statement's a
programs.
good one too, though, like, are you aware of the spaces that are available for that?
Right,
Like-
yeah, that's definitely.
Well,
For people to
if
say that
we
there's-
come back and a lot of people want that, then
Yeah,
then we
we
look
can have that
right,
conversation.
exactly. That's like a strategy to do to make that thing.
That's the.
Okay, I do want to,
16 and 17.
before we, I would like us to continue, because I can, but I do want to also get an idea of our next meetings and time frame. We've been doing monthly because of the summer, and I don't know if we want to, have more frequent. Do we want the subcommittees to meet separately? But I do want to try to get an idea of how, because I was reading notes from the original comprehensive plan, And in that, it said that it actually took them 2.5 years to do. So, and I'm not saying it's gonna take us that long, but I was just wondering how we should progress, you know?
Dave, did you say that?
So,
I will say this to you, because I guess the chairman, whatever the hell you want to call it. If you can remember back when we were going through, Kenny, you remember what it was like in these meetings when we were talking about changing zoning. And it was a riot. And when I say a riot,
yeah,
you couldn't fit all the people in this room and out the door and around the corner. And it was not a happy, healthy. These people were angry
yeah.
because you were taking something away from them.
Well,
But that was mainly the one issue, too.
I
Yes,
know,
it was
and I'm
that
saying,
issue.
at least this is peaceful.
So
Yeah.
far.
So far. Well,
Yeah. And again, we're not at the zoning change
Right.
point yet.
Right.
We gotta
Right.
figure out what we
Right.
want and then do zoning after that. Okay, so
Okay.
you know what, we don't have to decide right at this minute, but send me notes about how frequently, can we pick it up to be more frequent? And, ideas about that, you know, because we can continue on this, but,
Okay. All right, I'm ready. So 18.
I would like to have public water and public transportation.
Local road everything, so public water.
Public transportation.
Should public sewer be in there as well?
So that committee made a list of things. Road use and road structure was on the list. Traffic management was considered separate from the road infrastructure itself. Water, sewer, power, and emergency services were on that list.
so we can handle this, for this
Again.
question.
Infrastructure, the town, the jurisdiction for a lot of the things, categories, is not within the local town. So if it's an issue, and it's being identified as an issue, then it has to be addressed elsewhere by the town officials. So again, maybe rewording this, I don't know. The infrastructure, private well and groundwater quality protection, electric grid stability, power, those things are just totally out of our
Our control.
yeah, I mean,
I don't even know what you're saying.
well, I don't wanna
We
waste
had
people's
power 3
time.
times last week.
If we get people to look at this, let's be precise as to what is within our jurisdiction and what needs to be changed and what was already in existence.
But I don't want to lose the purpose of a comprehensive plan, which is not to make the rules, but to focus the attention. And if we say something that is totally out of the jurisdiction of the town board, nuclear power, right? If we say that's important, if the community members, the heck with us, if the community members say that's important, that directs the town board to turn its attention to it.
Exactly.
So I think it's legitimate to ask about it.
I can be specific about this in particular, like the idea that the town of New Baltimore is gonna have public transportation, nope, not gonna happen. But
Can we
there are
influence?
services on the county and state level,
Yes.
particularly the county level, that, is this something that we should spend our time pursuing and forging a closer partnership with Greene County? Or is the survey gonna say, actually, people kind of get around just fine? We can guess all we want, but we have over 3,000 residents, and the idea is to get feedback. If we think we already know what everyone needs, we don't need to be doing this at all. The idea is that we might not.
Yeah, I think this is fun to leave this question. I do. How should the town handle code enforcement or abandoned or unsafe structures left in severe disrepair?
That seems to be the right-
I heard that, wait, oh,
There's
yeah.
enough codes in place now. They just don't, they don't get enforced.
They don't get, yeah, enforcement, unless it's by exempt.
Okay, so we
What about
kind of know
road
how we're supposed to do it, but
We
we're not doing it.
stand.
Yeah, we're not doing
Okay, so.
it. Just
do we need
like
to-
cars leaving left in driveways and.
Yeah.
You see the one there by.
Yeah, that white truck.
That's right.
I'm like, I want the truck.
I mean, there's a
Buy
bunch of stuff on the books.
I've
If you
already
look at
told
the
them to
code
call
book,
the
that
state police.
I know. Yeah, so I
It's
would,
just not enforced.
yeah, so if, I would say that we don't need that then.
I'm waiting. for
Maybe the
somebody
question should
to
be, how
get
can we
the truck.
enforce our codes?
Yeah.
So I read, and I'm sorry, I read that question different, right? I read that question as us asking the community, how many resources do we need to apply to enforce these codes? That's what it says, code enforcement. Should we spend more resources or less resources? If we have to take it from somewhere else, where are we gonna take it from? Well, we already asked them questions about some of the other things. But this says to me, Mr. Community Member, are you okay with how we're doing that? Clearly, many of us here are not, right? But
Well,
I don't know that that's,
And my vision of that is that it's got too far out of control at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And so the people who have 4 or 5 junk cars on their thing, or cars, are gonna vote, we're fine with the way it is.
yep,
And then the people that, you know, have a beautiful house and
The guy
don't
next door
want
to
junky
them,
neighbors,
right.
are gonna vote, yes, we need more enforcement, right? So that's
one
what
would,
it's gonna
one would
go.
guess, and I think when we see the numbers,
Yeah,
then it gives us permission to recommend to the board, get going here. You know,
It gives you
we
some
put up with non-enforcement of this
data.
particular code for too long.
yeah, a reason, yes, so.
No, on number 19 though, from this conversation, it looks to me as if we should add abandoned vehicles to this list.
Structures and vehicles.
I know my neighbor would support that.
Maybe it's really like unkept properties.
Yeah,
and
'cause
then-
there's like-
And then put a list of,
Yeah, it should,
Yeah.
just, I
as an
wouldn't
example,
itemize, I would just put very general, like you just said.
Yeah. 'Cause we know
Because
where there's
there's
trash
stuff in
heaps
the
that don't
code
go away
for-
too.
For,
Yeah,
you know,
we're not doing.
structures that are falling down and,
Right.
you know, safety issues and cars and
Junk.
junk,
Okay,
burning garbage, you know, on and on, so.
okay. Short-term residential rentals, what level of municipal oversight should New Baltimore establish? Proactive oversight, minimal, no oversight, unsure, need. I think I wrote something in there about what should to add, but prohibit short-term rentals, owners, occupied only, well, what's the difference between owner occupied only and prohibit short-term rentals? I'm not sure that there's a difference between those two.
So like, my short-term rental is owner occupied,
Oh,
but it's not banned.
right,
Yeah.
okay. But it says only, that's what, I'm just.
So
Oh,
there-
I see, only.
does the owner
Actually,
occupy the
Right, okay,
property that's
Okay.
being rented out, or is this purely an investment?
okay, got it. I think that's a hot topic, actually, to some extent, so I think, and the state is
Can I ask,
enforcing.
why is that a topic?
Because a lot of people are pretty upset with them, and a lot of
It's taking-
people
taking housing
really
off the
want
market.
them, need them.
It's taking housing off the market.
It's not
Large
putting in
companies are
that
coming in buying, what?
Yeah.
It's not giving anything in, back to the town.
We don't have any tax yet
There's
on
no-
this.
Yeah, we should,
There's no.
at a minimum, yeah. And Greene County is working on a registry that we can
Right.
piggyback on.
Okay.
But yeah, you get big companies coming up and buying tranches of single-family homes.
In New Baltimore?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think here.
I don't think so. Here, I understand that.
Oh,
that is-
yeah.
We
I
have
know,
com-
I know
we
what
have
happens in
complaints.
Catskill.
It's
Yeah.
happening here too.
And then they have resources to go hiking and that,
Yeah.
you know,
It's
but
definitely
there's
happening
none-
here
there's
as well.
none.
And that's, it is definitely happening here and increasing.
Not to the scale, not, maybe,
Might buy a
Right.
bunch of twosies, but
Not
they're
to
not
the
buying.
scale. But then again, we don't have the scale of the housing
Right.
that they have there either. But percentage wise, it's you know, it is coming and it is a problem. And we do have to, the state had required that there be a registry, and then it kind of pushed it down to the counties to create the registry. But they will, all short-term rentals will have to report all their, you know, all their.
Well, I read the draft and
Yeah,
I don't see.
It's not, it's a non-starter as it's written.
I almost think that's a baiting question though, right? Like really the question wants to be like, are you comfortable with your community having short-term rentals?
yeah.
Like more general,
Yes, it's very simple.
you know?
Yeah, but isn't the answer to that gonna be, well, it depends?
Yeah, it does.
Or what type of short-term rentals would you be comfortable with?
Right.
Owner occupied short-term rentals, you know, corporate short-term rental, like, I just, the problem is the more you go with it though, then you gotta kind of frame it so people understand what they're reading,
Yeah,
right?
because of oversight, I mean, what level of municipal
But I-
oversight?
Because I think that
That's
people would give a different answer,
But that's not.
right?
We don't have.
Danny's short-term rental, I'd be probably like, fine, do it.
It's my basement.
But you get what I'm saying though, right? Like versus
Right,
Some-
the corporate tract.
corporate track out of New York City buying 200 acres and,
Oh,
you know,
God.
nothing.
I think the question should be, is it allowable? You know, do you think it's, allowable? And if it is, do you think it should be permissible? Because how else do you track it?
Well, oh, that was definitely something that was in the law, that there would have to be permits. I
Yeah,
think-
that's happening at the county level.
Because then it gives the question air to say, yeah, I'm all for renting my house out, but yeah, I really don't wanna go to the town every time and get a permit, or file a yearly permit,
Right,
at
that's what,
least you know that house is on your registered.
right, yeah. Right now, we have no knowledge
And
of
we have no
where all the
knowledge.
short-term rentals are in this town.
So how about at what level should short-term rentals be regulated, permitted?
And if we do something like that, are we gonna get superseded by the county?
There we go.
Oh, yeah,
Just like we were with the solar farms?
yeah, screwed.
Well,
If the county working on it.
why don't we rephrase it for
Yeah.
that? My question, the way you said it, Preston. And we do have at the end of the survey, an area that's just for comments. So any of these questions that bring up, you know, debate or, you know, clarification or anything like that, we'll see that.
So are we leaving 20 as is, or are we going to change that?
I think we're gonna rephrase it.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah,
To
yeah,
not sound like, are you against it?
exactly.
right.
But what level is permissible?
Yeah,
Yeah, so I think what we can do after tonight is send out the questions that need rephrasing, and everybody take a shot at it, you know, and we'll come up with some ideas. I didn't mean a literal shot. I
you don't
didn't
want to
mean
do
a literal
that.
That's gonna just open the
Save,
can of worms
yeah,
again.
save yourself.
Save myself. Okay, who wants to get that answer to those questions? Okay. Well, we'll have to try to rephrase it and then we can get opinions on it. Okay. All right, where are we now? 21. 21. If the town updates its code regarding short-term rentals, which standards should be required? Annual safety fire, maximum occupancy limits, required off-street parking limits, mandatory 24/7 local emergency contact person. None, the town should not regulate short-term rentals. I like that question.
Okay, well, first of all, the town doesn't have any code, so if the town
Adopts.
Adopts
yeah,
code, yes.
and can't we combine 20 and 21?
I was thinking the same thing.
Probably we can, yeah.
We can help you reword that. You know, and, some of this stuff, we don't have for regular homes, like in quiet hours, you know, annual safety and fire code inspections, required off-street parking limit, that's,
But it's like a bit, it is a business.
it is a business, okay, all right, because, if I had one in my house and you're telling me now I have quiet hour enforcement, okay, how do you balance that? Do
Well,
you know what I'm saying? Okay, here I have a room I'm renting out, and they have to shut up between 10 and whatever.
Right,
And I live next door and I'm throwing a big party,
right.
you know?
I thought, but isn't there
But that's-
standards anyway, like the quiet time
Not in our
between
town.
10?
Yeah,
There isn't in the
that's
town
very
hall?
common in
No.
most towns, for short-term rentals. But I guess maybe part of the difference is that your home is your home and you can do what you want in it versus somebody who's renting, you know, and it's not their home.
I'm just throwing that out.
I mean,
I'm pretty sure the Green County is gonna take a lot of the decisions out of our hands within the next few
That's
months
scary,
anyway.
Dan. That's scary.
no, we can enforce stricter local law. That's not, you know, we can. It's-
We have 3 left.
But if
3
there's,
questions left.
but
Okay,
if
then we're
there's
done.
Drive to the finish.
Come on, let's go.
Okay, so we'll leave those for
Okay.
right now. Should the town streamline the approval process for accessory dwelling units or agricultural outbuildings?
There is
On
no
budget
process.
Right.
There is no approval process in existence.
So should the town have an approval process?
Well, there is, if you put a garage up, that's an
I
outbuilding.
thought,
There is a approval.
Not
process.
an
There's a difference though, if it's
No, no, no,
agriculture or not.
No, it says or agricultural building.
Yeah, the last time I checked, we didn't allow accessory dwelling units at all.
No, we do. We
Yeah.
don't.
Accessory buildings are not, yeah.
What was
And
that,
the town
Marjorie?
And
allow
ag does not,
accessory?
we don't have any requirements to farmers.
Right.
And there's pros and cons. I mean, there's certain people in our town right now that are trying to implement unwritten rules.
Because it was over certain square footage, you had to get a permit and all that to do it.
No, I don't
Not
think.
on ag. But regular residential, you have to.
Yes, a small, but I think it's, oh God, it's a small number, 600? If you put in.
Yeah, you put a shed in, you still, that's an accessory building, right?
Yeah.
You gotta get a permit.
Well,
Yeah.
it's not for
But
a
if it's under
certain-
certain square
Yeah,
foot, you don't
yeah,
have to.
it's under,
It's only
like
144
I
square
don't.
feet.
144
Yeah.
square feet.
Which is 12 by 12, right?
Yeah.
Should the town allow accessory dwelling units or agricultural outbuildings on large parcels? Are you saying it's not allowed or is
It's not, what?
are accessory dwelling units and agricultural outbuildings on larger parcels, are they allowable or are they not allowed?
They're allowed, agricultural buildings,
A second
don't need a
dwelling?
permit,
They
right?
don't need a
I wouldn't
permit.
say a second
Yeah.
dwelling.
No,
like
ADUs are
garage
not.
or barn.
So I've got a note up there, ADUs are not, and ag buildings are
'Cause it's
lightly
not.
regulated if at all.
Dwellings on one of them.
So they're
Right.
completely, they're treated completely differently
All
by
right, first,
town.
accessory dwellings, that,
The
there's
dwelling.
two
thing-
different questions here.
Yeah.
What's an accessory dwelling, a second house?
Yeah.
Or a guest house.
In-law,
You
yeah.
can't do that now.
And
Right.
You can't do that now,
You
no.
can do an in-law apartment, which is what my Airbnb is, but it can't be a separate building.
Okay.
So
can't-
a loft above your garage would be an
Yes.
accessory dwelling unit.
It depends if your garage is
Depends on-
attached or not.
And whether it has
I mean,
heat,
mine's detached, so I don't even think.
and if it has heat and cooking, according to state law.
Okay, so you have two things here, two
Right.
different subjects.
Yeah.
Okay, for approval of accessory dwellings, there's already a process. If you're talking about another residence, putting a, so that, what are we asking them?
I think we strike this question off. No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
And I don't think it,
I don't know what benefit there is.
Yeah.
because accessory dwellings is something that's already not allowed,
Yeah.
right? Agricultural buildings already have different requirements.
Right.
Yes.
So just in my opinion, that question's not
Okay.
needed.
Everybody good? 22's gone.
Good.
We're on 23.
Okay, when evaluating potential new commercial or light industrial applications, which potential community impact concerns you most? Increased truck and vehicle traffic, noise, light pollution, nighttime operations, close to residential, environmental impacts on groundwater drainage runoff, visual changes that alter the historic or rural character of the neighborhood.
What are we gaining from this, Tony?
I'm not sure what we're getting for that question, because it's all regulated by either
Everybody
DOT
else.
or everybody else, you know, because as soon as you say commercial
Yeah,
and traffic and, you know, it's all regulated.
It's
And I
really a
think that
question
these
more
are all
about
well known to
zoning.
be issues that,
Right, like it's more a question
You
about.
can only do it in a commercial district, right?
Yeah.
So,
and we send people to DOT to get the traffic
Yeah.
The noise like pollution, that's all of the stuff.
Wetlands. you know,
DEC is on the
mitigation, all that stuff.
environmental impacts.
Right.
That's true.
She could.
Yeah.
Sounds like they can be right about.
Yeah, I think so too.
I know-
And we know that these are issues anyway and that they are, so.
24 we like.
We don't like.
No, I'm saying 20.
Okay, 24. Oh, that's the open one. Yeah, okay.
It's open-ended, perfect.
We need to
Okay.
add tiny homes,
Yeah,
residential.
I think that's in that zoning list of the different
Yeah.
types of buildings and homes that we need to increase. Yeah, definitely.
I mean, we limit 2 acres for a regular house.
Right.
Are we limiting, I mean, the tiny home, I want.
Is that an ADU? Is a tiny home technically an ADU?
If it's got heat in the kitchen.
Well, there's other things you can do for that too, though.
But we have to consider with a tiny home. People start out, well, of course, we have people that are going down from a big house to a tiny home, but then you also have tiny homes can be like a starter home, which they're going to want to add on to in the future. So it really needs at least 2 acres.
I don't think that should be touched. Especially you want to preserve what we talked about on the previous question.
Let's see, should residential homes, right now our code doesn't allow residential homes under 600 square feet.
600 is.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
so, that's a.
so that prevents that altogether
Yeah.
for any point in time, whether or not
Yeah.
you add up onto it or not.
And then they can go and appeal that and go to the ZBA, you know, so, and that's what your process is. And that's the way it's been built to work that way. Right.
So you really don't need a new code
No.
for tiny.
You gotta enforce what you got.
Okay.
So that's simplified.
Okay. One quick thing I want to mention is, we do have some opportunities to get some funding for this committee. And like, so for example, sending out the survey, snail mail, and then I would think we'd have to put a postage paid envelope to get the return. So, I'm going to be working on, I guess it's not too difficult to process. The IDA, Green County IDA will give, some funding for that. And so any ideas you think, for some funding, some people have suggested other things, so if you have any ideas of funding, because what we just have to do is send the IDA the general things that we're interested in. And they do have a cap, what they would give generally, but, so send me some ideas, because I want to get that to them pretty quickly. All right, so, and also think about when we should meet again. I had all this stuff for our subcommittees to do work today, but we'll do it the next time. We'll figure that out. I'll talk to ITS about the questions we had for returning the surveys electronically.
Deb, I do have one recommendation. Would it be worthwhile to set up like a Google Drive, where you put these documents in, that way you're not
Yes.
having to email them?
I'm trying to set up a website, a section on our town website, but I think a Google Drive would be really.
Just while we're working through this, because like, I'm horrible, I do it all from here mostly.
Yeah.
So like, I'm trying to which version am I working on? So I wonder, I don't know if that's something you could set up or if you need help.
I have a Google Drive that I have different things on, but let's talk more about that.
Okay.
Figure that out.
I just think it makes your life easier too.
Yeah, thank you. And I do want to also thank Frank because he sent out that draft of the letter that would go in the survey. I made a few revisions, but.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you, Frank.
I want to thank you, Frank, for your letter.
I was gonna like, what's that? The name is out of my head. I know, I'll do that, yeah. Okay, everybody, 1 minute, please, everybody. Yo, everybody, hey!
Attention, please.
Thank you, Ellie. Okay, so I'm gonna send out out, there's all these different kinds of tools where you just list the dates and people check off which dates they can do. And that's what we're gonna do.
Okay. Works for me.
Can't think of the name of it right now.
Oh.
Yeah, well, no, it's actually. Oh, good. I can't